Do I start at this time?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Omar Wahid.
And this is Rob Chappell, and it's 365 Amplified for Friday, March 6th. Steph is on assignment, which means busy with her actual job.
It's weird to start it without her, honestly. I wasn't sure what to start doing. Me first? And you say this is 365 Amplified?
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right.
We're just lost. We're lost without Stephanie. In a bit, we're going to have another candidate for the 76th Assembly District, Tony Castañeda, who folks probably know better as the Latin musician, but he's running for Assembly.
That's where I recognize that name.
Yeah. He's been around forever in the Madison music scene and is now jumping into politics. And we'll talk to him, find out exactly why that is. But before we get to that, a couple of things to talk about. First of all, Omar, you told us a couple of weeks ago about Improve Your Tomorrow, which is a California-based thing that has now this presence in Wisconsin, and they've got a lot going on. You had actually 2 stories this week about them, so why don't you catch us up to speed?
Yes. So we initially wrote about them when they launched. They're doing great work in Madison, expanding opportunities for students, especially students of color, to find a path in education, engage with it, feel like they belong, and hopefully move on to college and universities. And they've been doing great work at Madison School District, and they were in the talks of formally launching in Verona, but now they're officially in Verona. They've expanded. It looks a little bit different than Madison, but it's overall the same thing. The only thing different is the overall class size, because Verona is, of course, a smaller district. And they worked out something with Madison where a student could add Improve Your Tomorrow to their schedule so they can meet the students there while they're at school for dedicated time. They don't have that in Verona. They're working on expanding it further, but they're now in Verona and they've expanded and they're eyeballing even more.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Corby White, who is the director of the Wisconsin branch, wants to get into Milwaukee public schools, which is extremely sensible
but also a big step.
It is a huge step.
Yeah.
And they're also in the talks with it. Madison going well led to Verona. Verona going well has, increased the namesake of Improve Your Tomorrow. So now they're also formally in talks there. But they do want to hit Dane County, all of Dane County first.
Sure.
And for that, the second story.
Yeah.
They're also doing a showcase to show how its work has been empowering students of color. They're hosting it at Capitol High School, and they really want the community to come to understand what's being done here. I don't actually fully understand what's being done here. I know it's mentorship. I know they're bringing people in to really feel like they belong. They're going on trips to colleges so they can see themselves.
Yeah.
When you talk about these programs, they always kind of seem abstract, but they want to end that. They want the community to see. They want leaders in education to come to Capitol High School to actually see what is Improve Your Tomorrow about and how is it changing the lives of these students.
And
so
when is that happening?
That is happening March 11th at 9:30 at Capitol High School. Anyone can attend, but you do have to register because, of course, it is a high school. They can have strangers showing up to there. But free to attend, go, see what Improve Your Tomorrow is about. And if you like it, you could spread the word to your own school. They're working on it.
I think that the thing that stands out to me about this is not only is this focused on students of color, but students of color with particularly low grade point average.
Yes.
Right. Who may have been in that place where like, I'm never going to get good grades. So kind of like on the edge of giving up, throwing in the towel, whatever. Understanding that grades measure your ability to do school, not necessarily your intelligence or your potential. Right. So I think that's a really interesting, because there's plenty of existing programs for students that are obviously college bound,
Mhm.
but not so much for these kids that maybe are going to fall through the cracks. So really good work there. And thank you for that reporting. Again, that's March 11th, 9:30 a.m. Capitol High School will have a link to the registration if you do want to go and hear what Improve Your Tomorrow is all about and the work they're doing in Madison and in Verona and someday, fingers crossed, in Milwaukee.
They've had a couple talks and
Yeah.
they're working on it. So we'll see.
All right. The other thing I want to talk about before we get to Tony Castañeda, speaking of politics, is the Marquette University. Excellent polling outfit over there. They have a new poll out last week, February 25th. I guess they released the results. And it's a little striking that it's still very early, right? The primary is not till August. So there's a lot of people that they polled who don't know the candidates and who haven't made up their mind. But among those who do know the candidates, every gubernatorial candidate on both sides of the aisle have a negative favorability. Underwater in favorability, which means the people the percentage of people who say they have an unfavorable opinion of this candidate is higher than those who say they have a favorable candidate. Mandela Barnes, who I think many people would presume to be the front runner, who's running as if he's the front runner, has a -7 net favorability rating. That's just among all registered voters, not just Democrats. So that's, he's got the highest name recognition also. 61% know who he is enough to have an opinion. 34% have an unfavorable opinion. 27% favorable. Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez is much lower name recognition, 33%, but is -5 favorability. Francisca Hong does best on favorability, only -1 among the 29% of people who know who she is. There's a lot of people who haven't formed an opinion and who knows which way they would go. David Crowley is -2, Kelda Roy is -2, Missy Hughes -5, Joel Brennan -5, Brett Hulsey -10. But again, most of those people are just not known by anyone.
I haven't heard of 3 of those people.
Right. Brett Hulsey's been around for a long time. He's kind of just an agitator kind of guy. Only 3% favorable, 13% unfavorable, 82% go, who's Brett Hulsey?
I'm in that 82%. Who's Brett Hulsey?
Yeah, he's an old school Madison guy. In terms of who you're going to vote for, they didn't even, if they polled Republicans who they're going to vote for, they didn't put it in this report because I think they just assumed Tom Tiffany is going to win. There's only Tom Tiffany and Andy Mansky on that side. Andy Mansky has almost no name recognition. So the Republican nominee is going to be Tom Tiffany, the congressman from Northeast Wisconsin. When I say Mandela's running as if he's the front runner, Mandela Barnes, all of his campaign stuff is targeted at Tom Tiffany, not the other Democrats. In terms of who the Democrats are going to vote for, I was a little surprised at this when you told me about this, and this is why I want to talk about it, that Francisca Hong is actually the front runner.
Yes. I think that was in the previous survey, the one from February 11th, I think. The most recent one we're talking about right now is from February 25th.
Mm-hmm.
The one from before actually had Francisca Hong as the most identified candidate. People have at least heard from her. They know her. I think it was 65%
Really?
Oh, no. I think I'm flipping those numbers. Of all the voters, 65% were completely undecided. But of that small percentage that weren't, Francesca was at the top. And it was like not even close.
She was ahead by a lot.
It was absolutely leading. And she's been having a field day on social media, really taking advantage of that. If you follow her gubernatorial account, she has been going pretty hard since that's come out. So
yeah, this poll, the more recent one that's released on February 25th, still has 65% undecided among Democrats. This is among the Democratic primary voters. 65% undecided. But Francesca's still ahead with 11, and Mandela has caught up now at 10%. Rodriguez at 6, Crowley at 3, Brennan at 2, Hughes at 2, and Kelda Royce and Brett Halsey both with 1%. So, I've kind of, since the beginning, maybe because he was one of the first out, but I thought David Crowley was going to.
I mean, he's personally my pick. I'm not going to go endorse his campaign because we're not allowed to, but personally, my favorite person of the bunch is David Crowley. Maybe it's because I know David Crowley a little bit better. Mm-hmm. There's nothing but love when I see David Crowley, and he profusely thanks me when I casually show up to Milwaukee and he happens to be at something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what are you doing here? This is so far from Madison. I was like, you know me.
Yeah.
So.
Who else is going to be here? David Crowley is a Milwaukee County executive. Which is what Scott Walker was when he ran for governor, so that's not a bad position to run for governor from. But his campaign slowed down a little bit. I just haven't heard as much from him
I don't
lately.
Yeah, I think I saw like a couple commercials early in it. I was like, that's...
We get, I mean, he puts out emails, but not nearly as frequently as Barnes and Hong do. But I think Mandela Barnes definitely has the highest name recognition just because he was lieutenant governor and then he ran for Senate and has got this sort of national profile. But it seems like the race is right now between Francesca Hong and Mandela Barnes with, again, a huge number of people still to win over. Like those 65% could go anywhere, depending on what happens. But we will see another round of campaign finance reports in the next week or so. So I wonder if we haven't seen as much from David Crowley or any of the other folks, it's just a money issue. That if Mandela's kind of soaking up all the money.
I was kind of expecting Kelda Royce to be higher up in there.
She's got pretty good name recognition. She's run for stuff a lot, but only around Dane County.
I mean, 77% haven't heard of her, which that's the number that surprises me. Not necessarily the favorability or unfavorability, just that many people haven't. She gets around. She shows up to so many things casually. Like if workers are on strike just about anywhere in Wisconsin, I mean, she's gonna be there.
She's a worker for sure.
Pops up everywhere.
She actually went and spoke at my youngest child's school last week or the week before, and I told my kid, like, tell Kelda I said hi. And my kid goes, "How do you know all these people?" Yeah, that's the job.
Yeah, you just know politicians and famous people.
Well, I've known Kelda for 20 years. I mean, when she was a lobbyist, when I was working with the lieutenant governor's office during the Doyle administration. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting race because there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of folks that could have to land somewhere at some point, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see the field thin a little bit.
My support is whoever is going to keep you honest here.
Yeah.
I said it before, we can have a Cleveland economy. We can base everything around one player. Keep Giannis in Wisconsin. That's who I'll vote for.
That's whoever can make that pledge. Well, I asked Mandela when we had him on the podcast 2 weeks ago, can you pledge right now that we will get professional soccer in Milwaukee? And he said yes, absolutely. No, he didn't, but he said he wants it. But yeah, I think if whoever can keep Giannis here is probably gonna win. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if come August it's down to Mandela and Hong and maybe Rodriguez. But we'll see. We will see. All right, we're gonna take a short pause. When we come back, Tony Castañeda will be here. Attention sales types. Come work with me at Wisconsin's coolest little nonprofit community news outlet. We are hiring a dynamic, energetic media sales professional to support the work we do to keep our community informed and amplify the voices of our neighborhoods. We offer a base salary plus commission, as well as health insurance and a 403B retirement plan. Learn more and apply at madison365.org/jobs. And we're back, and joining us now in the studio, Tony Castañeda. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Tony is running for 76th
Assembly District.
the Assembly District. I can't remember if it's 76 or 78 because it used to be 78. But it's 76th District, downtown Madison, east side, north side, jumping into a pretty crowded primary field. Am I correct that this is your first foray into politics?
Oh, kind of. I mean, in 84, no, it was 86 or whatever, I ran with the Farm Labor Party or Labor Farm Party. We were trying to get ballot status statewide for the gubernatorial elections.
Oh.
And this was it was Labor Farm Party of Wisconsin. We were just, and I was a member of that group. And the strategy was, in order to get ballot status, we needed to have a bunch of votes, a certain percentage of the votes statewide. So we decided to run people for every seat in Dane County. And there were three positions left. There was like clerk, and there was something else, or treasurer, and there was coroner. So I ran for coroner under the slogan of some of my best friends are dead. And I got over 10,000 votes
for Dane County coroner.
Yes, and at that time you did not need any type of medical certification or anything. So it was. I mean, we got our ballot status. So statewide, we had got enough votes. And Dane County actually provided a big margin of the votes.
That's fascinating to me because would that have been like a third party?
Yeah, it was Labor Farm Party, but we were trying to get ballot status so that our gubernatorial candidate, Kathy Christensen, could be, would be listed on the ballot for running for governor. So that's what that was about.
Gotcha.
And there was back in '84. I don't think you'll remember this. You probably, whatever.
I might.
There, in Wisconsin, we had our primary system was set up like Iowa's caucus system.
Oh, right.
And that was the only time that I ever remember that they did that. And we had our Dane County caucus at the Capitol, and the Jesse Jackson people were pushing, and I was a delegate, and I was actually chosen to be a delegate representing Jesse Jackson's party to go to California for the convention. However, I just, we were at home. I had a couple kids at home. They were young. And I just, didn't have the resources to go. So I had to back out of it. Me and another Chicano friend of mine, Eme Campos, we were both elected by the people there, all the delegates that were there to go and represent. But neither of us ended up going.
I was a very politically engaged fifth grader in 1984. So I do actually remember that. I remember Jesse Jackson doing really well in Wisconsin, which was surprised a lot of people, I think.
I kind of almost forgot about that, but I remembered it the other day when we had our launch party because Jesse had just died a few days earlier. So I was like, oh, wow.
Right, it's relevant.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
So why jumping back in 40-something years later?
It's first of all, let me just say, there's two answers. There's a short one, and there's a fairly not too long, but depends how long I can make it.
We got nothing but time.
I'd actually, been thinking about this before. Actually, when Chris Taylor first announced that she was moving on at that time, and I was seriously thinking about it at that time. And then Francesca, who I knew, had announced, and I knew her through some other women that were part of a Madison culinary group. And when she announced, and there were some other candidates, there were good candidates also. I mean, Marcia Rummel was running. There was a lot of people running at that time, too.
This would have been what?
So it would have been 5 years ago or so, two terms.
2 terms.
Francesca's been there 2 terms. So, and I said, nah, I'm not going to do it this time. And then when the rumors started to go that Francesca was thinking of running for governor. As a matter of fact, I was able to run into her a week before she actually announced. And this is months ago. Some people were saying, well, now's your chance, Tony. You can run. And you don't mind I put on my glasses. So I had to make a lot of changes, a lot of things. I had to give up my radio show, which I've been doing for 33 years on WORT, the Thursday Buzz. I had to check with my family, not only my children, but my brothers and sisters and other family members. To check with my band. There's going to be a few changes, and I took my time announcing. And I know that I probably, some of the people I'm working with that have done this stuff before. They wanted me to announce 4 months ago or 5. And I know I'm just going to wait. I want to make sure that's all set and stuff. And I had to get my radio show covered. So I'm still producing the show. However, I can't be on air during the campaign season. So I just wanted to make sure that transition was fine. And then I said, okay, I'm going for it. So I made up my mind months ago that I was going to do this, but I just wanted to get as many ducks in a row as possible.
Sure.
Some of the ducks are still not in a row, but
we're still trying to.
Yeah.
Ducks.
I mean,
what was it about even like 5 years ago that he's been out of the politics for a while? I mean, is it just the sort of current state of the country, current point in your life?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. I guess it's not like I've really had. I've always been involved in politics my whole life, in a lot of leftist politics, starting even before I came to Madison. I came here in 1974 as a freshman, as an art major. Right away, I got involved with the Chicano student organization on campus, MECHA. At that time, though, it was still called La Raza Unida. And, we worked a lot around a lot of issues. One of the biggest things that we did, other than that, we were very effective at pushing legislation to get it to allow migrant children to go attend to our public schools here. It was through the work of hardworking people, students at the UW campus. But we also our big struggle at that time was pushing for a Chicano studies department. Okay, not a program, which is kind of what they have now. But And through that work, then started working with around Native American rights issues. One of the first occupations in the late 70s was there was a novitiate up in Wisconsin, in Shawano area. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was a takeover by the Menominee Nation at the time. And we had a support group there, and we sat in at the Capitol and got carried out of there. So going from that, working with the Chicano struggle, and then working into Central American issues and struggle then. And as a matter of fact, it's interesting that we're talking about Iran, because in 79, when the Shah, who was a fascist, was kicked out of Iran, there were a lot of Iranian students on campus who were in, and when the hostage crisis, the hostage crisis happened when 50 whatever hostages were taken at the U.S. Embassy. There were a lot of attacks on Iranian students here on campus. We formed a support group for them to protect them and develop safe houses if they were needed. One thing that should be pointed out is at that time, not only were Iranian students being attacked, but anyone who looked Iranian, which a lot of Chicanos and Puerto Ricans, and Mexicans, people were accosting us and accusing us of being Iranians also at that time. So I've always been in those types of political battles and issues, working as Central American, even did support work for the Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland, fundraisers and stuff. I had a band that used to play fundraisers all the time. Olmeca, it was Madison's first Latin music band. And we formed in 76. Yeah. So, what was the question again?
Why are you running for assembly?
Oh, why am I running? Okay. Sorry about that. Well, I'm just kind of saying a little bit of my history, my political background.
For sure.
But, I'm running because, I've been in this district. I've been living in this district for over 45 years. I've raised my kids, graduates of Madison Public Schools. Couple of them, my oldest son, Justice, just got his PhD from the UW. Wow. My daughter got her undergraduate here at the UW, my daughter, Sonia. So, I've been here and I've served in this community. I've worked in the social services field, even though I was uncertified, if you will, but for like 35 or 40 years, working at the job center, working with Employment and Training Association, working with a YWCA, working with the Urban League for a little bit there. I worked at housing initiatives where we provided permanent housing for chronically homeless individuals who were suffering from, mental wellness issues, if you will. So I did youth programming, youth counseling. I did adult job counseling and placement for people who are on food stamps and what have you. I've done recruiting and training for people of color and non-traditional folks to get into the skilled trades. So I've been doing that work. I've been serving in that capacity in the community, and not only doing things like volunteering and coaching and youth sports and stuff like that. So I've been in this community and I've lived in it for 45 years, and I've seen the changes. Some of them for good, some of them not so good. So that's the long version. The long answer. So long I even forgot where I was going. But the short answer is why not?
Sure.
Why not? Everybody else can. And I'm looking at some of these other people that are in the state legislature, and I'm like, well, I can do better than that guy, So yeah, really, I kind of said, why not? Let's do it. And the response I've gotten from many people, not only on social media, but people that I just run into, they're like, hell yeah, yeah, Tony, you'd be great. And so it's been very encouraging for me, the positive response I've gotten from people.
Now, go back to the Democratic Farm Labor movement. Would that have been like left of the Democratic Party at that time?
Yes.
Because the reason I ask is
Minnesota has their
right. The Democratic Party is basically DFL.
Yeah. Okay. So that's farm labor. So we were labor farm.
Okay. Right.
It was inverted. Not that we were at war with farm labor up there, but
Democratic Labor Farm Party.
Yes.
But it would have been a left-leaning alternative to the Democratic Party.
It would be what the DSA is now.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about, because Francesca, the current incumbent, identifies as DSA, right? So, and that, I think people think that's a new thing, but it's clearly not. Like you've been on that left end of things for 40 years, 45 years.
Yes. Well, even longer, but yeah.
A long time.
Yes.
So how do you think that's shaping up in terms of the Democratic Party, either statewide or nationwide?
Well, I really think that is a very important and it's a growing element within the Democratic Party. It needs to be there. That critical class conscious analysis needs to be there. A critique and a look at the corporate system we live under, or you might call it capitalist. I think we're beyond that, and the limitations of that type of a system right now. And it's great that people are questioning that and addressing that and yeah.
I'm curious, and apologies, this is not directly related to the campaign, but I'm curious as to your opinion on this, having worked in that side of things for a long time. It feels to me like for the past 25, 30 years, the Democratic Party, the establishment, has been trying to pander to this mythical centrist voter, or trying to woo over like moderate Republicans and stuff like that. And in so doing, kind of leaves but to leftists who don't want to vote for Democrats.
Not only that, they've alienated not only leftists, they've alienated the working class in their original base.
Right.
All right. I know a lot of people that don't vote, that still don't vote. Okay. And that's another reason I'm running. In spite of my age, I'm running to encourage the youth vote in a lot of people. I know youth. I know friends. My youngest daughter's 22. Friends of hers don't vote, and they don't. They're like, you're right. A lot of people there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. And in a lot of ways, they are right. And I know that a lot of established Democrats hate when we say that. If you ever listen to my radio show, we're very critical. I've been doing the show. I went for 33 years, and I have a regular guest who was totally critical, and I've gotten so much feedback from regular Democrats. They're like, Tony, you got to quit having that guy. He's why Trump won, because he's discouraging people from that. Well, no, I think the Democratic Party has to look at themselves and the established Democratic Party. I guess I don't really, my advisors would probably tell me not to go too much into this, but I think almost all of the candidates that are running for this seat, I think we all kind of agree on that. For the most, what I've heard,
I think you're right
is that we're all very critical of the standard of the Democratic Party, the Clinton, Biden, whatever, Axelrod, whatever you're going to call it, element of the Democratic Party, and how it's like democracy has been failing in the United States for a long time because we've hardly ever had more than 50% of the eligible voters vote in all elections. Of course, Dane County, Madison, we always have a high turnout, but we're kind of an anomaly. Other places are Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
But when 50% of the people don't vote, the Republicans and the Democrats were both fighting for the 50% that do. All right. And especially the Democrats were ignoring the 50% that don't, which is mostly working class, poor people, people of color, people that feel like neither party is answering their needs, is addressing what they really need and the changes they need. And that's a problem. And what happened the last two times Trump won, Trump got more new voters than the Democratic Party did. He got a lot of people that don't vote, a lot of very poor white folks, people that never voted before. That's inroads, I think, that the Democratic Party has got to look at and see where their messaging is going. And that's very important for me. And that's another reason why I'm running, is because I think that I speak for the disaffected, a lot of disaffected.
Yeah.
Speaking
of that, what beyond the sort of the politics of it, what are the issue priorities? Well, what are the things you're going to want to take on from day one?
I mean, really, of course, a lot of my campaign, as you can see, it's kind of ICE-based, ICE no, Tony C, ICE no. Of course that. The protects us for the immigrant community. I'm Chicano. I'm Mexican-American, my grandparents immigrated here from Mexico, all right, looking for a better life like everybody else.
Yeah.
We were all immigrants unless you're Native American, all right? And people got to realize that. And everybody's family, Europeans, everybody came here for the same reason. Being an immigrant is not illegal, all right? Searching for a better life is not illegal. So those protections, definitely, all right? This isn't in no particular order, all right? But, the funding of our public schools is a big thing. We got to fully fund them like we used to. Wisconsin, back in the day, all right, our public school system was one of the best. Our teachers, while they might not have been paid the best as everybody else, they had a great benefits package and a pension and a guaranteed things. These are all things that have been slowly stripped away by both Democrats and Republicans, all right? And so that's a very important part for me is to fully fund our public school system. And at the same time, our cities and our villages, we have been, the Republicans have been attacking funding for the school. For the cities and the services that we need. All right. So we need to come back. We need a fair tax system. We need definitely property tax reform. We need to start addressing the wealth gap and how that affects here. I mean, the Republican solution for all this time has been tax breaks and privatization, tax breaks for the wealthy and privatization. And unfortunately, one of the things that we have to do is we have to rescind a lot of the things in the damage before we can even move to a more progressive thing. We have to rescind a lot of the damage that the Republican administration has been doing, even before Walker. You know,
Mm.
I mean, starting way back with Tommy Thompson, going back to Ronald Reagan. So we
Yeah.
need to reverse those things. Of course, affordable housing is a big issue for all of us. And in Dane County, I'm in the community. I'm a musician. I play at bars. We are losing the ability to provide affordable housing for the people that work as bartenders, as musicians, as chefs, as cooks, people that work in the fine restaurants. Everybody likes to come downtown and eat our food and go to our, have our fine drinks and go listen to some great Latin jazz music or what have you. And we can't afford to live here. Where are we going to move, So those
Yeah.
are priorities in terms of Wisconsin things. But overall, I think that we got 3 more years of the Trump administration. And after that first year, I mean, the damage is done in that first year. We can only see as he's getting more desperate, with this ill thought out war on Iran. And that's another reason that I'm running also. It's like, we have got to stand up. And I feel that I'm ready to take on this fight. And I also feel responsible. I think that as a boomer, we are responsible for Donald Trump, really.
Yeah.
I mean, through bad political decisions, through not working and concentrating on that 50% of the people that don't vote, not addressing working class needs and poor people's needs and people of color's needs and the marginalized population, and just concentrating on this 50% of predominantly white middle-class people who do vote. That was a big mistake for the Democratic Party to just concentrate on winning that, because it could go either way, and it has.
Yeah.
And that's why we are where we are.
I think a lot of people who do know your name know you as a musician.
Right.
Other than name recognition, what does that bring? How does that experience as a musician in the arts community, what does that bring to the race for you?
I'm creative. I'm an artist, right? And I think I have creative solutions, and that's what we need right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to use a cliche of thinking outside the box. I've never seen the box. No, I mean, I as a musician and being part of that community, first of all, deciding to run, this has been it's been a game changer for me. It's something, it's like, wow, I'm doing this. So first of all, the ability for me to play every week with my brothers in my band it's cathartic. It's like my release. It's like my artistic release. So I look at things as an artist. All right. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
We're also in a period of the midterm elections looks to be pretty healthy for the Democratic Party, at least.
Let's hope so. I'm a little concerned at the governor's level. I can't believe that people are saying, there may be a chat in Wisconsin, because, yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you about that. How optimistic are you that the assembly will flip?
I want it to flip. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I want to do as I'm running right now is to help, because Madison doesn't matter. Whoever wins this thing is going to win. The Republicans are not going to run anybody. Right. All right. But I want to help other assembly candidates, because nothing that I say, nothing that any of the other 4 candidates say about their progressive agenda and what they want to do, none of that will matter if we don't take the assembly. All right. So I think it's very important, and I want to help in areas where the race is close and where we could turn it and we can flip it. So that's very important to me. And especially if and when I win the primary, I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on helping out in the other areas, if they want my help, of course. But, so pinpointing those close races, in helping. And we got to turn it. If we don't, it doesn't matter. We'll just be banging our head against the wall again, as
right.
the Dems have been for the last 15 years, since
Right.
Walker.
Well, and then you mentioned the governor's race. We're just talking about the latest primary polling. Are you optimistic there? Are you worried about Tom Tiffany?
Well, it's only from what I'm hearing about my people who are in the know, and they're like, well, it's not a guaranteed. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, any of the candidates, well, maybe except for Brett Halsey, would have a chance with Tiffany. I mean, we should be able to take him on. So I'm a little concerned that people are expressing that, because that also is an indication of what the Assembly and the state Senate races are going to be, if they're going to be that close.
Right.
So I guess I haven't really looked at it, but if the people in the know are telling me, hey, that's not a given, I'm like, what? So yeah.
So you seem optimistic, but you're worried that other people are not.
Yeah, I'm a lot more optimistic than the ones in the know. But what does that say about me? I don't know.
Right.
So, this is very new to me. And so I chose a campaign. I mean, I've never done this before. So I chose a campaign manager who's never done this before either. So here we are. Fortunately, I do have we have picked up some other people that do know, and I do have advisors that I can't say who they are, because then either they'd have to kill me, or I'd have to kill them, or we'd have to kill you. I don't know. Somebody gets killed in this thing. So, so, I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah. All right. Tony Castañeda, thank you so much for the time. How can people...
well, thank you. People can go to our website, which is Tony C. for Wisconsin, and that's all spelled out, TonyCFOR Wisconsin.com. Don't forget the .com. Otherwise, you're going to get Tony Evers all over the place. Got a million complaints about that already. He's not running anymore. I like Tony Evers.
You're the new Tony for Wisconsin.
Yes, there's always got to be a Tony in power, I guess, somewhere. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thanks. All right, best of luck.
All right, man. Thank you.
And before we leave you today, a couple of lighter notes. First of all, two other podcasts in the 365 Media Network to commend to your listening. This week's Black Oxygen with Angela Russell features the guest is her former boss, Governor Jim Doyle. Fantastic conversation. You don't hear from him a lot these days, but he still has a lot to say on equity and representation and community building. It's a really important conversation there. Actually, that's how I know Angela from 20 years ago, when she was working in Governor Doyle's policy shop, and I was just on the other side of the door in the LG's office. And then the other podcast that you should give a listen to is my other podcast, which has now become part of has been folded into the 365 family officially, and it's called 608 Soccer. Formerly Talkin' Flock. I have rebranded the podcast to make it 608 Soccer because there's a new team in town, a women's team. And despite me asking, could they please name the new team after a bird so that I could keep Talkin' Flock as the name of my podcast, they did not do that. They called it Rally Madison, which I like. That's a pretty great, unusual, innovative name for a soccer team. But they start in a couple of months, so I'm expanding the scope a little bit of that podcast, and it is called 608 Soccer. But the most recent episode of that, the USL League One season, that's the league Forward Madison plays in, that season gets underway this weekend, tomorrow. Forward Madison does not have a match in that first weekend. Our first match is at Knoxville on March 14th, the next Saturday. So I convened sort of a roundtable of several of my fellow USL League One podcasters and media people and reporters and writers, and we just talked for a little over an hour about the upcoming season, about the league season. We've got 5 new teams entering the league. We've got a few teams that are in their second year. We got a few teams that have been in the league the whole time since 2019. So we had a really good conversation with 7 different folks from around the country. Give that a listen wherever you find your podcast at 608 Soccer, or go to madison365.com/608 Soccer and find that and give it a listen. Also, I should mention that with the Forward Madison season getting underway March 14th, I'm going to have a season preview for you on Monday at madison365.org. It's going to be a very different season. The team completely rebuilt its roster. We brought back one guy, Derek Gebhard, who's been here forever. He's been here since 2021, by far the longest tenured Mingo. And he's back for his 6th season, which is great. But everybody else is new, and all of them are guys we've never heard of. So they haven't played in this league before. So it'll be a fascinating thing. Also, we have all these new teams to go up against, and we've got the U.S. Open Cup starting also within a few days after the league season starts, and then we've got the League Cup competition, all sorts of things, lots of stuff to talk about. Some new stuff at the stadium on game day, although we don't have any home games until May, because one of the new things in the stadium is new turf. So right now it's just a concrete floor, and you can't play professional soccer on a concrete floor. So they're going to take a couple months and get that installed, and we'll have our first home game against Detroit City on May 16th. And so I talked with the coaches, I talked with the new sporting director, talked with some fans, I talked to the front office, and I'll have a good substantive 2026 season preview for you on Monday at madison365.org. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week. 365 Amplified is produced and edited by me, Rob Chappell, and is a production of 365 Media Foundation, a nonprofit, local, independent media organization in Madison, Wisconsin. Wherever you're listening to this right now, hit the subscribe or follow button to get new episodes every Friday. And between episodes, get your latest news at madison365.org, and follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. Wherever you get your news, we'll be there.
Whether you're solving murders during breakfast, cracking cold cases on your commute, or playing amateur detective at bedtime, Amazon Music's got millions of podcast episodes waiting. Just download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite true crime podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.